Hey guys, welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast. It's Coach Simona and I'm glad you decided to tune in. What's up everyone? In today's podcast episode, we're going to talk about how to deal with emotional manipulators. And I will share with you several psychological manipulation examples, how to spot them, what to do when someone is trying to manipulate you, and how to walk away from a situation that no longer serves you. Now let's jump right into it. Alright, when we talk about emotional or psychological manipulation, we need to clarify what it actually means. Psychological manipulation is a type of social influence that aims to change the behavior through indirect or deceptive tactics. We've all encountered emotional manipulators in our lives, and maybe we used some psychological manipulation ourselves at some point. The question is, how to deal with them in a way that protects our boundaries. Now, let's pause for a second and think about something. Why do people manipulate? It's very simple actually. We all have needs, and there are two ways to meet them, directly or indirectly. For example, let's say you need a hug from your partner. You can meet your need directly by saying that you need a hug, or simply hugging them. Or you can think of a way for them to understand your need and fulfill it without saying a word. I'm giving this specific example to illustrate that not all manipulation is bad. We normally associate manipulation with deceit, but in some cases it could be beneficial for both parties. Another example, you've been going to a therapist for a couple of months now, and you've clearly stated from the very beginning that your goal is to improve your relationship with your partner. The therapist's job in this example is to find a way to ask you questions that prompt you into the right direction of establishing better boundaries with your partner and knowing when to say no. They may manipulate you by asking you questions that are going to lead to a certain realization, because they know what the outcome is going to be and you don't. Now the third example is going to be on the other side of the spectrum. Let's imagine that your friend wants to guilt trip you into lending them money. They may say something like, "If you don't help me out, I don't know what I'm gonna do." Or, "I can't believe you would refuse to lend me money. I thought we were friends." In this situation, they're playing on your emotions and trying to instill guilt in you. Why? Because that's the easiest way to get you to do what they want, which in this case is to lend them the money. So to recap, psychological manipulation can be used in a constructive way and in a malicious way. Since this podcast episode is on how to deal with emotional manipulators, we'll focus on the latter. And I will help you spot when someone is trying to take advantage of you and how to react in different types of situations. Okay, now let's get into more psychological manipulation examples. Let's say your mom really wants you to spend Thanksgivings at her home with her new family. She wants to bring you all together and celebrate the holiday. Nothing wrong with that, right? But she decided to do it in a passive-aggressive, emotionally manipulative way. She might say something like, "You're such a bad daughter. I've given everything for you, and you don't even call me. I'll be hosting Thanksgiving this year, and I want everyone to come. But I guess I won't be expecting you, since you've always disappointed me. You're such a disgrace to this family. I don't even know why I bothered trying." By saying all of these things, she's provoking you to react. If you react in an angry way, you will prove her right, meaning that she will get what she wants, which is for you to blow up. On the other hand, if you suppress your anger and not say anything, you will give her even more ammunition to walk all over you on Thanksgivings, and she will repeat the behavior indefinitely because it simply works. That's why it's important to find the middle ground and state that her behavior is unacceptable to you, and you won't tolerate her insults. Also, make sure that she knows that if she keeps behaving this way, you would have to cease contact and not come to Thanksgiving's dinner. Then, it's her choice. You've already stated your boundaries in a clear, calm, and healthy way. Now, if you want to dive deeper into the topic of setting healthy boundaries, I've actually made a video on my YouTube channel on how to say no to people without feeling guilty. So you can check it out after listening to this episode. I will link it below. Here's another example of emotional manipulation. Your wife wants you to buy her some expensive jewelry. Instead of telling you that, she starts dropping hints that she wants a surprise for your anniversary. She starts talking about her girlfriends who receive expensive gifts from their men. She starts nagging without directly telling you what she wants. She expects you to know. She says something like, If you really loved me, you would know what to get me. Then starts attacking you for not being a good husband. In this case, you can calmly say that you love her and you want to make her happy, but you need her to be more direct with you because you can't read her mind. State that you're willing to buy her a gift as long as she tells you what she wants, so she won't be disappointed. Or, if she decides to give up control, you would be able to surprise her with a gift of your choice. Here's another example of psychological manipulation. Your male coworker compliments you every day, brings you coffee, does all kinds of nice things for you. One day, he starts giving you hints that he wants something more. Suddenly, you're in a position where you don't know where you stand with him. He says you're just friends, he's married, but he keeps pushing your boundaries and flirting with you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. He likes the attention, and it's clear to you that he's not going to pursue you any further, but he keeps you at a close distance to boost his ego. He's playing the hot-cold game. In this situation, you can clearly state to him that you would prefer it if he stopped with the gifts and compliments, and you want your relationship to be strictly professional. You may tell him that you find his behavior confusing, and that's not something you're willing to tolerate. Stand your ground and give him the cold shoulder. Now let's focus on the actual tips on how to deal with emotional manipulators. My first tip is to observe. Let's be real here, we've all done that. You're having a conversation with someone and you're waiting for the other person to stop talking, just so that you could say something. It's exciting to share ideas and you're probably thinking about the next thing you want to say in the conversation. The problem is that when you're the one who's talking, or you're too focused on what you're gonna say, you're missing out on a lot of things that are happening with the other person. What you can do instead is observe what they're saying, how they're saying it, and what their body language is. There are many wonderful books on reading body language, but I'll give you just one recommendation. The best book I've read on this topic, and that is What Everybody is Saying by ex-FBI agent Joe Navarro. It's a brilliant book that will teach you how to read others by observing their body language. I will link it below. By the way, did you know that when you speak, only 7% of the information comes from the word itself, and 93% is actually nonverbal communication? If you teach yourself to take deep breaths, slow down, and listen more than you talk, you will be able to quickly spot emotional manipulators and move on to step number 2. Which is to ask yourself, what do I want to achieve at the end of this conversation? You need to be clear what your goal is. Is it to protect the relationship with this person? Is it to set healthy boundaries? Or is it to present them with a counteroffer? You need to be clear about your goal, either before you enter the situation or after you hear their request. If you want to buy yourself some time, you can always say something like, I will have to think about it. Thanks for letting me know. Or, I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as I take a look at my calendar. Or if they're pushing you to make a decision right away and you're feeling a little bit emotional, you can say something like, I don't like where this conversation is going. I'm gonna leave the room now. Let's talk when we're both calmer. In this case, you're giving yourself some time to think, reflect, and decide how to react. Besides, when someone's trying to manipulate you, they're probably expecting you to react in a highly emotional way or simply give in. By exiting the conversation, you will definitely surprise them and buy yourself some time to think. My third tip is to set healthy boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries is all about listening to your gut and saying no when something feels wrong or doesn't align with your values. Your values are extremely important because they help you navigate through life with integrity. You know who you are, you know what you want, and you're able to stand your ground. As a result, other people start to respect you more and eventually discover that their manipulative tactics simply won't work for you. If you're wondering what your core values are, I've made a free downloadable cheat sheet with the top 98 values to choose from. You can download it by visiting bit.ly/98values or click the first link in the description box below. Tip number 4 is to cut off toxic people from your life. If you've stated your boundaries and they're still not respecting them, or every interaction with this person is leaving you miserable and confused, then it's time for more drastic measures. If we're talking about a family member, you may give them some time and space and try again in a few weeks. If it's a friend or someone you've been dating, I would suggest to cut off all contact and move on. Of course, every situation is different, and you should take everything you hear or read with a grain of salt. You know what's best for you, so listen to your intuition. It's okay to give someone a second chance, and in some cases, emotional manipulators can change if you clearly state your boundaries. But there are some people who simply operate in a different way and don't know how or simply don't want to change their ways. It's their choice. But it's up to you whether you're going to put up with it or not. Remember, always put yourself first. No matter how valuable the relationship is, your health and well-being should always come first. Every human being deserves to be treated with decency and respect. Own your worth. And if you want to learn more on how to meet your own emotional needs so you don't fall into emotional manipulators' traps anymore, listen to episode 38 next. I will link it below. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like it. And subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on my weekly podcast episodes. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in the next one.